gathered here not by chance, but by a mysterious summons that rises from the depths of the psyche. Perhaps you think you came of your own will, by curiosity or the search for knowledge. Yet I tell you, you are here because the shadow itself has drawn you. It is the unseen companion, the one you have always avoided, the silent witness of every thought you banished, every feeling you suppressed, every instinct you denied. Tonight, in this moment, as if in a sacred chamber, we will lift the veil and confront what has long remained unseen. And in so doing, you will discover that the shadow does not merely haunt you, it shapes your destiny. What is this shadow? It is not simply darkness, nor is it merely evil. It is everything you refuse to acknowledge about yourself, everything your conscious mind rejects in order to preserve the fragile image of who you believe you are. The shadow is formed in childhood, when the bright flame of possibility is forced into the narrow mold of acceptability. A child who longs to sing may be told to be silent. And so her voice becomes shadow. A boy who wishes to cry is told to be strong, and so his tears become shadow. Each time you were punished for being authentic, each time you repressed the truth of your soul, a piece of your destiny was sealed in darkness. The shadow is the graveyard of your unlived life. But listen carefully. The shadow is not your enemy. It is your guide. It is not the prison of your destiny. It is the key to it. Imagine a dream where a terrifying figure pursues you through corridors of night. You run, you sweat, you stumble, but the monster never relents. This dream has come to countless men and women in my studies, and perhaps to you as well. The instinct of the dreamer is to flee, yet if you stop running, if you turn to face the figure, you will discover that the monster carries a gift. The very thing you fear holds the seed of your becoming. The shadow reveals to you not what you wish to see, but what you must see in order to live the fullness of your fate. Your destiny, you see, is not a path that lies outside you. Written in the stars like a script you must obey. No, it is inscribed within, encoded in the very tensions between your light and your darkness. The persona, that mask you wear before the world, is designed to keep the shadow hidden. It is a useful mask, for society demands conformity, and without it you would be cast into chaos. But if you mistake the mask for your soul, if you cling to the persona as your identity, you will remain estranged from your true destiny. The task, therefore, is to enter the dialogue between persona and shadow, between the light of who you think you are and the darkness of what you have not yet dared to face. In this dialogue, destiny takes form. Consider the archetype of the hero. Every myth, every legend, every holy text carries its image. The hero is always confronted with a shadow, whether it is the dragon, the underworld, the beast, or the enemy within. This is not coincidence. It is law. You cannot become who you are without descending into who you fear. You might be. The hero slays, but the hero also integrates. To kill the dragon is to take its fire into your chest, to carry its power without being consumed. In your own life, the dragon is every unacknowledged desire, every suppressed rage, every wound you pretend no longer bleeds. To deny it is to remain small. To confront it is to become whole. You may ask, why must destiny pass through darkness? Why must the unseen truth be cloaked in shadow? Because the psyche is not linear. It is not a straight road, but a spiral, a labyrinth whose center lies hidden. The conscious mind cannot tolerate the raw totality of the soul. It fragments, represses, organizes, excludes. The shadow is the remainder, the rejected material, but the self, the archetype of totality, the divine spark of the psyche, demands wholeness. It will not allow you to live in fragments forever. It calls you, sometimes gently through dreams, sometimes violently through crises, to turn and reclaim what you have cast away. If you resist, life itself will conspire to bring you face to face with the shadow. What you refuse to face within will manifest without, in the form of conflict, betrayal, failure, or illness. These are not punishments, they are summons. Your destiny is pressing upon you, demanding to be lived. I recall the dream of a woman who appeared before me in her mid-30s, burdened by depression. She dreamed of a dark cellar where a child wept behind a locked door. She could not approach the child. She feared what she might find. When I guided her to imagine opening the door, she discovered the child was herself, abandonnée, unseen. That dream revealed the secret of her suffering. She had pursued the destiny prescribed by others, becoming the dutiful daughter, the perfect worker, the agreeable friend, but her true destiny, to create, to speak, to love fiercely, was imprisoned in the cellar of her shadow. Only by reclaiming the child, by integrating the rejected self, could she step into her own fate. And so it is with each of you. Somewhere within, a forgotten self waits, calling from behind a locked door. You fear the shadow because you think it will destroy you. In truth, it will only destroy the illusions you have mistaken for yourself. You may fear anger, yet in that anger lies your will. You may fear envy, yet in that envy lies the recognition of what your soul desires. You may fear sexuality, yet in that sexuality lies the spark of life itself. Every shadow contains not only poison but medicine. The alchemists knew this. The prima materia, the base substance, appears vile and chaotic, but it holds the secret of the philosopher's stone. Your shadow is your prima materia. To embrace it is to begin the alchemical work of transformation out of darkness. Gold is born, but beware to integrate the shadow is not to indulge it. To become whole does not mean to surrender to every impulse, to justify cruelty, to unleash violence. That would be possession by the shadow, not integration. Integration means to bring the shadow into consciousness, to recognize its energy, to hold it in the light of awareness. Only then can you choose wisely. Only then can you channel its power toward creation rather than destruction. The man who denies his aggression may become passive, resentful, and easily manipulated. The man who integrates his aggression can use it to defend truth, to set boundaries, to pursue his calling with courage. The woman who denies her sexuality may wither in bitterness. The woman who integrates it becomes radiant, alive, magnetic. Destiny is not written in your denial, it is written in your integration. I tell you this, the destiny of humanity itself hangs upon the courage of individuals to face their shadow. What you do not resolve within, you will project upon others. Nations project their shadows as enemies, as scapegoats, as demons. Families project their shadows upon the black sheep, the outcast. Religions project their shadows upon heretics, witches, unbelievers. All wars are born of projection. All oppression is rooted in the refusal to face the inner darkness. If you wish to change the world, begin not with ideology, not with dogma, but with your own shadow, to withdraw projections, to see that what you hate in others is what you have not faced in yourself. That is the beginning of peace. Your personal destiny and the destiny of the world are bound together in this mystery, for if you integrate your shadow, you add light to the collective soul. And yet, even as I speak these words, I know the shadow resists. It does not wish to be seen. It will whisper excuses. This is too frightening. This is not me. This belongs to others, not to me. The ego clings to its comfort, to its fragile kingdom of appearances, but the self is relentless. Dreams will return. Synchronicities will multiply. Encounters will confront you again and again until you yield. Destiny is patient, but it does not forget. You can delay, but you cannot escape. The unseen truth will find you. Think now of your own life. Where do you stumble? Where do you feel trapped in cycles? You cannot explain what emotion surges in you when you see another anger, disgust, contempt. That emotion is the compass pointing to your shadow. When a trait in another disturbs you, look closely, for it mirrors what you refuse in yourself. The enemy you despise is the reflection of your inner exile. To accept this is difficult, for the ego cries out, but I am good, I am righteous, I am better than that. Still, the shadow waits with arms folded, saying, one day you will see me. Your destiny begins the moment you stop running and turn to face what you most reject. Only then will the unseen truth reveal itself. The shadow does not appear to you only in dreams or in sudden eruptions of emotion. It moves subtly through your daily life. It hides in slips of the tongue, in forgotten appointments, in inexplicable accidents. It whispers in those moments when you sabotage your own success, when you choose the wrong lover again and again, when you betray your own intention without knowing why. These are not coincidences. They are messages from the depths. The shadow seeks recognition, and if you will not grant it willingly, it will speak through repetition, through pattern, through suffering. Destiny is not an abstract plan imposed from outside. It is the unfolding of these hidden truths, pressing toward consciousness. Imagine you are walking through a vast forest at night. The path ahead is dim, yet you sense presences in the trees. The more you cling to your lantern, the more those presences seem menacing, threatening. But if you dare to extinguish the lantern, if you allow your eyes to adjust to the deeper dark, you begin to perceive shapes and outlines that were invisible before. The psyche works the same way. Your conscious ego clings to its little light, believing it is the source of all truth. But the ego's light blinds you, as much as it guides, to surrender into the greater night, to allow the unseen to reveal itself, is to encounter the truth of your shadow. There, in the obscurity, lies not destruction but orientation, the deeper map of who you are becoming. You resist because you think the shadow is unworthy. You say, this anger is base, this jealousy is shameful, this desire is profane. But ask yourself, who taught you these judgments? Whose morality do you serve? Often the values you cling to are borrowed, imposed upon you by parents, culture, religion, a society. They are not born of your own soul. The shadow is not immoral, it is immoral, existing before judgment. It contains what is raw, primal, unfiltered. If you approach it with condemnation, you will remain its prisoner, but if you approach it with reverence, you will discover that your destiny is not to live as a borrowed mask, but as the unique expression of the self, the image of wholeness hidden within you since the beginning. There is a paradox here. The more you repress, the more the shadow grows. The more you deny your destiny, the more compulsively you are driven by it. What you refuse to face returns magnified, erupting in destructive ways. A man who denies his sexuality becomes obsessed with purity, yet secretly consumed by temptation. A woman who denies her aggression becomes the victim of others' aggression. Unable to defend herself, a society that denies its collective shadow, its greed, its violence, its lust for power creates tyrants to act it out on the world stage. Thus, the very destiny you flee becomes your fate. The Greeks knew this distinction. Well, destiny is a call toward wholeness, but fate is what ensnares you when you refuse the call. To live your destiny is to integrate. To deny it is to be condemned, to repeat the same tragic cycle. Let us enter deeper. Archetypes are the universal patterns of the psyche, the eternal figures that inhabit every culture, every mythology. The shadow is not a single figure, but a multitude, a host of hidden archetypal images. In dreams, it may appear as a thief, a murderer, a wild animal, a seductress, a madman. Each carries a fragment of your unlived life. One patient dreamed continually of a black dog that followed her wherever she went. She feared it, tried to outrun it, but it was always at her heels. In analysis, she discovered that the dog represented her instinctual energy, her vitality, which she had suppressed in order to be the obedient daughter and dutiful wife. Once she embraced the dog, once she allowed it to walk beside her, she found a strength that transformed her existence. She became an artist, a leader in her community, a woman who radiated life. The black dog was her destiny, concealed within her shadow. You see, then that destiny is not some external fortune teller's prediction. It is not written in a palm or calculated in the stars. Those may provide symbols, but the true map is inscribed in your unconscious, your dreams, your fantasies, your slips of your symptoms. These are the scriptures of your destiny. If you learn to read them, you will see that your shadow is not an accident of psychology, but the precise design of your becoming. The things you fear most are the things you are called to integrate. The aspects of yourself you most reject are the very ones that hold the key to your wholeness. Yet there is danger. To face the shadow is to risk disorientation, to risk being swallowed by the very darkness you seek to integrate. Many who open the door to the unconscious without guidance are overwhelmed. They mistake the voices of instinct for the voice of the self. They lose themselves in chaos. They are consumed by obsession. This is why ancient myths tell of initiations, of guides, of rituals. To contain the descent, you must approach the shadow with humility, with discipline, with discernment. Do not rush to embrace every dark impulse as holy. Test it, wrestle with it, learn its language. The shadow is not a pet to be tamed, but a god to be honored. If you bow before it with sincerity, it will yield its gift. If you treat it with arrogance, it will devour you. This, too, is part of your destiny. The struggle, the confrontation, the wrestle in the night. Think of Jacob wrestling with the angel until dawn. He was wounded, yes, but he emerged with a blessing and a new name. The angel is the shadow, terrifying and divine. To wrestle with it is to accept that suffering is the crucible of transformation. Your destiny is not comfort, not ease, not the preservation of your fragile ego. Your destiny is to be torn apart and remade, to die and be reborn, to descend into the underworld of your own soul and return with treasure. Only then can you say you have lived. Only then can you say you have become who you are. Do not think this is reserved for prophets, heroes, or mystics. It is the law of every soul. You, too, are called. Perhaps your shadow comes as anxiety, as depression, as emptiness. Perhaps it comes as destructive relationships, as compulsions, as addictions. Do not curse these as mere misfortunes. See them for what they are, doorways. Each symptom is the shadow knocking, demanding recognition. Each failure is the shadow teaching you what you have ignored. Each heartbreak is the shadow stripping away illusion. If you can look with new eyes, you will see that what seemed like punishment was initiation. What seemed like ruin was revelation. Your destiny is hidden in these very wounds. Let me speak of the collective once more. Humanity stands at a threshold. The technological power we wield outpaces our wisdom, and the shadow of our civilization threatens to consume us. We project evil upon nations, upon ideologies, upon the other, while refusing to face the darkness within ourselves. This is why wars multiply, why greed ravages the earth, why alienation spreads. The collective shadow is not confronted, and so it erupts as catastrophe. But if enough individuals take responsibility for their own shadow, if enough of you dare to look within, then the collective may begin to heal. The destiny of humanity depends on the courage of the individual. Never think your inner work is insignificant. Each integration of shadow adds light to the whole. Each step toward wholeness radiates outward, altering the destiny of the world. And yet, do not imagine that integration is a one-time task. The shadow is inexhaustible, For the unconscious is vast. As long as you live, you will encounter new layers, new figures, new challenges. Each stage of life brings its own shadow, its own unlived potential. The shadow of youth is not the shadow of midlife, nor the shadow of old age. Destiny unfolds in stages, and each stage requires a new descent. You may think you have overcome, that you have integrated, but the psyche is deeper than you can fathom. The journey is endless, and that is its beauty. To live is to descend again and again, to embrace the darkness, to emerge with new light. This is the eternal rhythm of individuation, the spiral dance of the soul. So I ask you now, are you willing? Are you willing to meet what you have long avoided? Are you willing to see that the destiny you seek has been hidden all along in the very places you feared to look? If you are, then life will respond, dreams will speak, encounters will arise, synchronicities will guide you. The unseen truth will reveal itself step by step as you dare to walk the path. And though it will wound you, it will also heal you. Though it will terrify you, it will also liberate you. Though it will strip you bare, it will also crown you with the fullness of who you are. The shadow has always been with you, though you learn to ignore its whispers. As a child, it spoke with innocence and curiosity, appearing in play, in fantasy, in the strange images of dreams. But each time you were told, do not think that, or do not feel this, a piece of the child was exiled. What is repressed does not vanish, it sinks below into the realm of the unconscious, where it waits. The adult you became was built upon this exile, but your destiny cannot be fulfilled without reconciliation. You are not called to become what society has made of you, but to become the totality of the one who was born within you. The unseen truth is that your soul remembers everything you have cast away, and it will not allow you to forget forever. In every dream you have ignored, in every mood you have dismissed, in every sudden fear you cannot explain, the shadow announces itself when you envy another, when you are struck by inexplicable attraction or repulsion, when you are disturbed by a stranger's words or a lover's silence. These are not accidents. They are mirrors. What you cannot see in yourself will always appear outside of you, so that you are forced to face it. Life becomes the stage upon which your shadow plays, and destiny is nothing less than the integration of that play into conscious recognition. But how does one approach this without despair? The descent into the shadow is frightening because it feels like death, and indeed, in a sense, it is death, the death of the ego's illusion, the death of the fragile persona you have mistaken for your soul. Yet remember, every initiation requires death and rebirth. The ancient mysteries knew this. The initiate descended into the underworld, confronted the Lord of Death, and returned, transformed. You, too, must die to who you think you are in order to become who you truly are. This is not metaphor only. It is the deep structure of transformation. Without surrender, without dissolution, no rebirth can occur. Thus, the darkness you fear is the womb of your destiny. Let me tell you of another patient, a man who came to me tormented by rage. He was a respected scholar, admired by his peers, outwardly calm and controlled. But in private, he was consumed by violent fantasies, images of destruction that horrified him. He begged me to rid him of these impulses. Yet I told him, do not seek to banish them, seek to understand them. As we explored, he discovered that his rage was not against others, but against the life he had denied himself. He had become a scholar to please his family, but his soul longed to create, to paint, to bring forth beauty. His shadow had been carrying the fire of his creativity, disguised as destructive fury. When he embraced that fire, when he allowed himself to paint, the rage diminished, and destiny revealed itself in color and form. Thus you see, even what appears demonic may be the carrier of your divine gift. The psyche speaks in symbols, not in logic. The shadow reveals itself in images that often seem grotesque, absurd, or terrifying. But if you interpret them literally, you will miss the truth. A dream of drowning does not mean you will die in water. It means you are overwhelmed by emotions you cannot face. A dream of murder does not mean you are evil. It means you are called to slay an old identity. A dream of chasing or being chased shows the struggle between conscious will and unconscious truth. To live your destiny, you must learn this symbolic language, to read the messages of your own soul. Every nightmare contains a secret blessing. Every frightening image conceals a key. The shadow does not lie. It speaks in riddles, and your task is to decode them. But beware again, do not become intoxicated by the shadow's glamour. Many who first encounter it believe they have found ultimate truth, and they are swallowed by inflation. They mistake raw instinct for divine revelation, chaos for enlightenment. This is as dangerous as denial. The path of individuation is narrow. It requires both surrender and discipline, both openness and discernment. If you give yourself blindly to the shadow, you will become possessed. If you repress it completely, you will become brittle, lifeless. Integration is the art of balance, to hold the opposites, to contain the fire without being burned. Only then does destiny unfold in its proper form. You ask, perhaps, how does this shadow reveal my destiny? Specifically, the answer is hidden in what you resist most. What is the thing you cannot bear to admit? The impulse you most despise, the wound you most conceal. There lies the seed of your vocation. The healer is born from the wound. The teacher is born from ignorance, overcome. The leader is born from the one who first knew submission. The lover is born from the one who first knew rejection. Your destiny is not separate from your suffering. It is woven through it. The shadow is not the obstacle to your path. It is the path. To flee it is to flee yourself. To embrace it is to discover that the very thing you thought would destroy you is the source of your power. Do you not see how this transforms the way you view life? No longer are you a victim of accidents, of cruel fate, of meaningless suffering. Every encounter, every failure, every heartbreak becomes revelation. The unseen truth is that life is always speaking to you, and the shadow is its voice. When you stop cursing your misfortunes and begin listening, destiny emerges like a figure from the mist. The pattern becomes clear, and what once seemed chaos reveals its order. The self has been guiding you all along, through the very darkness you feared. And yet, integration is not for the faint of heart. To look at yourself honestly is the most difficult task a human can undertake. To strip away illusion, to confess to yourself the truths you would rather hide, requires immense courage. But I tell you, there is no greater adventure. To explore the world may bring wonders, but to explore the depths of your own soul brings the eternal. You will discover that you are not merely a fragment, not merely an ego tossed about by chance, but a vessel of the divine mystery, a participant in the eternal dance of light and shadow. This is your destiny, not to be perfect, not to be pure, but to be whole. Do not underestimate the silence of the shadow. It may withdraw for a time, allowing you to believe that you have conquered it, that you are free at last, but then, without warning, it returns, appearing in a new guise, demanding once again to be seen. You may think, have I failed? Have I not already faced this? No, you have not failed. You are simply being called to a deeper level of integration. Destiny is not a single revelation, but a lifelong unveiling. Each encounter stripping away another veil, bringing you closer to the truth of your soul. The unseen truth is infinite. Each time you think you have reached the bottom, the abyss opens further, revealing yet more treasures hidden in the dark. This is why the journey of individuation can never be completed in the ordinary sense. One does not finish the shadow as one finishes a task. One lives with it, one walks beside it, one listens continually, and the more you listen, the more you are changed. In the beginning, the shadow comes as monster, demon, threat. Later, it comes as teacher, guide, companion, and at the deepest level, it reveals itself as part of the self itself, the wholeness that was always within you. To embrace the shadow fully is to discover that the one you feared most was your own soul, longing to be recognized. Consider how destiny appears when the shadow is embraced. The timid discover courage not by eliminating fear, but by entering it. The broken-hearted discover compassion not by fleeing pain, but by allowing it to break them open. The rigid intellect discovers wisdom not by rejecting irrationality, but by listening to dreams, symbols, synchronicities. Every destiny is unique, yet the pattern is the same wholeness through the integration of opposites, light and dark, masculine and feminine, spirit and matter, conscious and unconscious destiny weaves them into one tapestry. Without shadow, there is no depth, no texture, no meaning. Without shadow, destiny remains flat and superficial. With shadow, it becomes radiant, eternal. I speak to you now as though in a sacred hall, with the archetypes themselves gathered among us. The warrior stands behind you, urging you to confront your fear. The lover whispers in your ear, reminding you that passion and desire are holy. The child waits within you, longing for play, spontaneity, innocence. The wise old man and woman nod in silence, knowing that every descent leads to transformation, and the shadow is here too, standing close, silent, patient. It does not leave when you pretend it is gone. It does not abandon you when you ignore it. It waits, a destiny wait, until you are ready. And when you are ready, it steps forward, not to destroy you, but to walk beside you toward the fullness of your fate. Some of you may wonder, what if I fail? What if I cannot face it? But the truth is, even failure is part of the path. Even when you turn away, the psyche continues its work in secret. The dream will return, the symbol will reappear, life will arrange circumstances to confront you again. There is no escaping the work of individuation, for it is the law of the soul. You can delay, but you cannot erase. Even your failures are woven into destiny, preparing you for the moment. You will finally yield. Nothing is wasted. Everything belongs. This is the mercy of the self. It will use even your resistance to guide you toward wholeness. And so, when you leave this gathering, do not think that the work is over. It has only begun. Tonight you have glimpsed the unseen truth, that your destiny is written not in your light alone, but in your shadow. Tomorrow, life will test you. A word will wound you. A memory will rise. A conflict will burn. In that moment, remember, this is not punishment. It is revelation. Ask yourself, what is the shadow showing me now? What part of myself have I abandoned? And then, with courage, turn toward it. Embrace the darkness, not as enemy, but as guide. For each time you do, a new piece of your destiny will fall into place. Like a constellation forming in the night sky. You are not here to be perfect. You are not here to live without contradiction, without conflict, without shadow. You are here to be whole. And wholeness includes all that you are. This is the unseen truth. The shadow does not diminish you. It completes you. Your destiny is not to escape the darkness, but to carry it with you, transfigured, so that your life becomes a testament to the union of opposites. When you do this, you will find a peace deeper than comfort, a joy greater than pleasure, a freedom beyond all masks. You will stand as one who has wrestled with the angel, wounded, yet blessed, limping, yet radiant, a bearer of light forged in darkness. And then you will know the shadow has revealed your destiny, and you have become, at last, who you truly are.